Hello, coin collectors out there. We have another state quarter series for you here. This is the second year that the state quarters were made. This is the year 2000. So these quarters represent the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th states to become states in the United States of America. Those states are Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Virginia. As you can see, they all became states in 1788, and that's all shown on each of their quarters. So this video is going to look at each quarter one by one, and I will explain to you what is on the emblem on the reverse of the coin, and I'll get into the mintages for each of the quarters. So here's the first one. This is Massachusetts. This represents the 6th state to become a state. This quarter was released on January 3rd, 2000, and features a Colonial Minuteman. The Minutemen were a small kind of army or militia that Massachusetts had that were got their name from their ability to assemble in a minute. So they got together quite quickly and were able to assemble and fight off the British Army. So this image obviously invokes the Revolutionary War. We've got the Minutemen with the outline of the state behind it and with the nickname the Bay State. So the mintages for this quarter, there were 1.1 billion of these produced in total, about 535,000 from the Denver Mint and 628 million produced at the Philadelphia Mint. So moving right along to the Maryland State Quarter, the second quarter that was produced in the year 2000. And this is, as you can see, it's nicknamed the Old Line State. So the Old Line State Quarter was released on March 13th, 2000, and features the Maryland Statehouse, which is a prominent building in Maryland. If you ask me, this design is kind of disappointing. There's nothing really special about it. It's just a building, and it's just the state house building. So it's not even that special in my opinion. I'm guessing they probably could have gotten a better design here. This quarter there were over 1 billion produced as well. There were 1.2 billion produced at both. At the total of both of the mints. Next up, a much more exciting design in my opinion than what we just looked at with Maryland. This is the South Carolina Quarter. This was the 8th coin in the state quarter series, released on May 22nd, the year 2000, and features what I like, a collection of different symbols. So it's not just the state house like we just looked at. These symbols are all important to the state. They have the state bird, state flower, state tree, and then the outline of the state are all included. So there's kind of a lot of cool stuff that's on here that kind of represents the state of South Carolina quite well. So there were also over 1 billion of these produced. There were 1.3 billion. So even more than Massachusetts and Maryland. They were still ramping up the production for these quarters. So that wraps up South Carolina. And then we'll go on to New Hampshire, the live, free, or die state. Now this one is kind of sad because the old man of the mountain is no longer there. He recently, a couple years ago, collapsed, and so that image is no longer there. Some people are hanging on to this quarter because of that. However, I'm not going to, as there were a ton of these produced. So the symbol, as you can see, is the old man of the mountain, which is that right there, which is just kind of like a rock sculpture carved into the mountainside of one of the mountains in New Hampshire. So this quarter was released on June 21st in the year 2000. So the mintages for New Hampshire, there were 1.1 billion produced. All right, on to the 5th and final quarter that was released in the year 2000. We have Virginia. Now, all of these quarters, as I said, became states in 1788. I believe the 13 colonies, or the 13 states, the first 13 states, all became states in 1788. So this one right here was released on October 16th, 2000, and features 3 ships bringing settlers to Jamestown. Jamestown was the first permanent English settlement in America, and the quarter celebrates the 400th anniversary of the settlement in 2000. So as you can see up top, 1607 to 2007. 1607 is when Jamestown was settled. So, I haven't mentioned the mintages for this quarter. The mintages were 1.5 billion. So this is the highest mintages for any quarter to date. 1.5 billion. This was kind of like the height of the state quarter hysteria, and people were really holding on to these, and were kind of in love with the series at this point. We're hooked. So they produced a ton of these quarters. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'll show you once more the quarters so you guys can take a look at them. In reverse order, we have Virginia, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Maryland, and the first quarter that was produced in 2000, Massachusetts. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you're into coin collecting, please do subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day, everyone.